Good evening, my name is Nicholas Schwenk. Today I'll be talking to you guys about the Wright brothers. Let me set the scene for you. It's the 1800s. A father of 5 children returns home from a business trip with a souvenir for his sons. The souvenir is a helicopter that's made from bamboo, paper, and cork, wrapped together with a rubber band to spin the blades. His children fall in love with this gift, and it sparks interest in flying and aviation. What they do with this newfound passion of space and technology will forever change the field of aeronautics. It is without question the Wright brothers have significantly influenced today's air travel. Today, to help everyone become more familiar with the impact that the Wright brothers have had on today's aviation, I will tell you about their background, explain their work and accomplishments, and show you the endeavors they've influenced the aviation field. First, I will discuss the background of the Wright brothers. So, Wilbur Wright. According to the Smithsonian, the National Air and Space Museum website, the Wright brothers have had a supportive home life as well as a variety of unique skills and talents that complemented one another. Wilbur was born on April 16, 1867. He was the middle child of 5, born to Milton Wright and a bishop and Susan Catherine Corner. He was studious and excelled in school academics. He planned to attend Yale University before an ice hockey injury to his face caused him to cancel his college plans, as he was unable to receive his high school diploma. He spent much of his time caring for his ailing mother, reading books, editing the newspaper that he started, and working on bicycles. According to the official website of the Wright brothers, Orville was born on August 19, 1871. His playmate was his older brother Wilbur. He was a restless student and mischievous in the classroom. As a result, he dropped out of high school to start a printing business with Wilbur's help. He was a great mechanic, and he utilized his skills in the bicycle shop that he opened up with his brother. He was also a very skilled pilot and was almost killed in 1908 when a propeller broke. Next, I will talk about the work accomplishments of the Wright brothers and how they conducted a series of experiments and research that was essential in the development of the first flying device. The Wright brothers studied aerodynamics and structures in preparation for their building of their first piloted glider. They began considering the curve of the wing profile, the wing area, and types of materials needed for the construction. They chose Kitty Hawk, North Carolina due to its open spaces and strong, steady winds. The early gliders suffered from control programs, lack of lift. The 1902 glider had a thinner airfoil and longer and narrower wings, which proved to be more efficient. They also added a vertical rudder to the rear and made a forward elevator for the pitch into elliptical shape. The brothers fell into fame as they traveled to France to make their first public flights with the Wright airplane. They traveled around Europe where they were honored in ceremonial dinners with the aeronautical elite and political leaders. They also received numerous medals and prizes, including the Legion of Honor. Royal families and heads of states came to watch the brothers fly and to meet the men that were quickly gaining the attention of the world. Other prominent aviators, reporters, and adoring women sought their attention, but the Wright brothers did not like their new status. Since we are more familiar with the background and accomplishments of the Wright brothers, I will now discuss these endeavors that have influenced the field of aviation. The technological and creative ideas of the Wright brothers changed the aeronautical field in several ways. Their actions revolutionized aviation all around the world, and their accomplishments are also prevalent in today's culture. Flight trials were scheduled for late summer of 1908 in Fort Myer, Virginia, a military post just outside of Washington, D.C. With the commitments in Europe, the brothers had to be separated for the first time. With Wilbur off to France, Orville did the flying for the Army. The Wrights eventually sold their flyer to the Army in 1909. According to the Smithsonian National Air and Space website, commercial air transport would become the other major market for aircraft technology along with military aviation. It would not become economically viable until the 1920s and 30s when long-distance travel became reasonably reliable, but efforts began in the pre-war period. The world's first major international flying meeting was held in Champagne, growing region of France, from August 22nd to the 29th of 1909. The event drew 38 airplanes, 23 of which flew in various speed, distance, altitude, and passenger-carrying events. With a growing number of meets and competitions organized by the France event, exhibition flying became quite profitable. Aerobatic displays by daredevil pilots began to supplement the races and other competitive events. Many influential writers had visions shaped by the airplane. Among these writers were Franz Kafka, an Italian poet, novelist Gabriele Annunzio, and futurist movement founder and leader F.T. Marinetti. To them, the power of flight was an irresistible theme. Pablo Picasso, Henry Rosario, Kazimir Malevich, Giacomo Balla, and Robert Delaunay produced works inspired by and featuring the airplane. The Italian futurists were especially influential in motivating these avant artists to explore aviation. The first narrative dramatic motion picture film, The Great Train Robbery, was made in 1903, the same year the Wright brothers made their first historic flights. Before World War I, both film and aviation were still in their infancy, but both had already were apparent that each had a powerful potential to influence the world. According to History.com website, Orville sold his interest in the Wright Company and spent the remainder of his life as an aviation elder and statesman. He received 11 honorary degrees as well as dozens of medals and awards. He passed away in 1948 at the age of 76. Wilbur handled several patent infringement suits that the brothers had filed as a result of believing that their invention was uniquely their own. He became stressed from the burden of the legal issues and became ill with typhoid fever in 1912. He passed away at the age of 45. Several statues and memorials were created and displayed all over the world. The largest is a 60-foot granite shaft and feathered wings erected at Kitty Hawk and dedicated in 1932. The inscription at the memorial at the Kitty Hawk says, "In commemoration of the conquest of the air by the Wright brothers, conceived by genius, achieved by dauntless resolution and unconquerable faith." Through my presentation, you have heard about the background of the Wright brothers, become more educated about their accomplishments, and learned how these actions have influenced today's aviation and culture. As previously mentioned, the Wright brothers have significantly influenced today's air travel. Now imagine you're living in the 1900s and sitting in an airplane for the first time. Imagine walking outside and not ever seeing an airplane in the sky. You see a bird fly by and wonder what it would be like to fly yourself. Imagine creating a machine that will forever change the world. I will leave you with this quote by Orville Wright. "I got more of a thrill out of flying before I had ever flown in the air at all. While lying in the bed, thinking about how exciting it would be to fly. These are my works cited. Thank you for your time.